Today we're talking about the ISO 9001, ISO 14001, ISO 45001 monitoring and measurement provisions and how that works to track performance in your organisation. Welcome everybody to the Best Practice Certification webinar on tracking clear pictures of performance in your organisation. It's a great it's a great webinar we've got planned for you today. Very dynamic. There's going to be lots going on. So today it's all about how we can pull together performance, monitoring and measurement, objectives and targets in your management system and improve the performance of your organisation, giving ourselves a clear picture. My name's Kobe Simmet. I am representing Best Practice today, repping the Best Practice shirt, and welcome to our live webinar. We've got lots planned. This is a slightly different format to what you will be usually used to from us. There's no slide deck today. We're changing it up a gear. We've had some success with a slightly different format. I've got the whiteboard here. I've got my pen. I'll just quickly grab that. Special thanks to Jack, who is here with me in the studio, and our team. I think we've got Elise and Sam on the live chat, and that's all happening out in the office. And so if you need any information or if you've got any questions as we go, then shout out. I've got my iPhone here beside me. And that is for questions. So if there are any questions, I would love you to be asking questions. You can find me on LinkedIn and send me an email message. If you would like to connect with me on LinkedIn as part of that process, the email address, if you can't connect with me because you're a third connection or fourth connection and you need my email address, my email address is kobe@simat.com.au. So look for my name, it's spelled KOBI at simat, SIMMAT.com.au. That's the email address you use to send me an invitation to connect on LinkedIn. So please do that. I'm just going to quickly get, there's a little bit of a lag, so we're broadcasting about 4 or 5 seconds ahead of you watching this right now. There is a little bit of a lag, but I'd just like to get a check-in from everybody. And just a hello from everybody who's watching, so I've got your attention. Now to do that, if you're watching the link directly from the email that we sent you and there's no comments beside you, then you can go ahead and click the title of the video. That'll take you through to YouTube, and then you can comment beside the video. So this is broadcasting on the YouTube platform. That's the engine that's in the back end. So you can click that link and take you across the comments. So a quick hello from everybody. If you just give me a quick hello and say hi, I'm here, and then I can see who's watching. I've got a dashboard that tells me that there's about 14 or 15 people that have come online. So we've got about 15 people there, 14, 15 people. So what I'd like you to do is quick hello. Now you can do that on the YouTube comments box. You can send me an email on LinkedIn. My phone's right here beside me. Or go onto the bestpracticecertification.com.au website and hit the live chat. So a little pop-up window pops up on our website and you can say hello there. And the two people here in our office that are monitoring our live chat, they can give me the thumbs up that you're saying hello. So that's going to be how you ask questions. I'm here for you. So this is live. It's coming to you live right now, and I'm here for you. I'm here to answer questions. So I'm here to help you unblock any blockages or issues that you've got with development of your management systems, and then we can monitor what's going on. In fact, Jack has also just brought up the live chat, so we'll be able to see what's going on there. Okay, let's get into it. So the first thing I just wanted to quickly talk about is everything that's around me up here on the screen above me, and that's the Connect with Us. Lots happening here at Best Practice with YouTube videos every week, 3 or 4 YouTube videos. If you want to see the behind the scenes bloopers, all the funny stuff that goes on, and the fact that I'm a real human being, our vlog comes out every Thursday, and that's all the fun stuff we do here running Best Practice, obviously one of our objectives. Lots of stuff happening, following us on Instagram, little quotes every couple of days on Instagram, but more importantly, have a look at LinkedIn. Lots going on LinkedIn. On my personal profile on LinkedIn, there's always lots of videos coming out, lots of content to help you grow and develop in your career, and more importantly, improve your KPIs and improve what you're doing. A little bit of stuff on Twitter, a little bit of stuff on Facebook, but lots on YouTube and lots on LinkedIn. So why do we exist? Something that I get out of bed every morning, and I got out of bed this morning a little bit sore actually, because we did legs at the gym yesterday. So that's why I'm standing up, so my legs don't freeze up. What we're passionate about here at Best Practice is creating organisations that are growth focused, improving their profits, improving their efficiencies, improving their organisations, improving safety, improving environmental sustainability, improving data and cybersecurity. So data security and cybersecurity. So it's all about, framed up in risk management. We're very passionate about helping your organisation, and we get, we do feel a great sense of pride when we see you guys improve, and we like to hear about those improvements. So everything that we're doing here is all about helping your organisation to improve, you to improve, but your organisation to improve, so that your organisation is a great place to work, it's a good organisation to invest in, and equally a great place to have fun every day. So that's our why, that's why we do this, that's why so much of this content is for free, but more importantly, there is also some stuff we sell. And I'm going to ask a favour of you guys as we get through this presentation. So today we're here to talk about improvement, and we're here to talk about KPIs, and we're here to frame that up. So what I'm going to do is get straight into it, and I'm going to talk here quickly on the whiteboard. Now, Jack, can you throw me that blue rag there behind you, so that I've got that to wipe off what we're doing? Okay, great. So I'm just going to put this in my back pocket. So Jack's just going to quickly zoom in on the whiteboard. I want to frame this up. We know about the cycle of continual improvement that we talk about. So we've got, just quickly, we've got plan, then we've got do, we've got check, and we've got act. I just want to apologise for any background noise. We've got a contractor in the kitchen, which is the other side of this wall beside the studio. Our kitchen flooded this morning and yesterday, so the contractor is fixing the kitchen sink that's flooding. So I apologise for any of that noise, but he's just fixing that for us right now. So we talk about plan, do, check, and act, and that is the cycle of continual improvement. So I just wanted to spend this webinar giving you some really high-level summary of, I would hope that I could speak to you for 2 days on this subject, but we've only got just under an hour to talk about it. In this framework, the first question I'll ask is, well, where do we start? So if you were starting an organisation, or when the organisation you work for or own or participate in, when they started, where did you start? And I'll often just quickly point out that we started at doing. We often just, we start doing. We start either doing the job that we did, and the organisation sort of, starts off the back of that. We stop doing our job and we go and start a company doing something, or the founder of our company went and just started doing something. Often there's not a lot of planning involved. It's just we saw an opportunity, and informally seeing the opportunity could be a bit of a plan, and then we obviously move across to doing. So I actually argue that the cycle starts with do, check, act, plan. So it's not plan, do, check, act, it's do, check, act, plan. And that's something I've been saying for the last 15 years. We just get in and we do stuff. We try and figure it out. And then we go, holy shit, that didn't work. And so, the checking might be, it's more like we made mistakes and we're trying to fix the mistakes. And so the original cycle of continual improvement was do stuff, make mistakes, we better fix those mistakes. And so that's typically what's happening in organisations every day. We're making mistakes, and the standard, to bring in some terminology, talks about corrective action, or over the years in each of the international standards and business improvement, we've talked about corrective action. So we act on that and we fix it. And so I'm just going to write over here, fix it. But what we often do as humans is we short circuit that process. We fixed it, I was walking along, my shoelaces came undone, and I bent down and I retied my shoelaces and I kept walking. And so I noticed my shoelaces are undone, just as an example. Now there's a good chance that if my shoelaces come undone again, I'll probably trip over my shoelaces. But we fixed it and my shoelaces kept coming undone. So is there a problem in your organisation that keeps happening? Because I would argue that you're following this do, checked, do, it's not check, it's mistake. Do, mistake, fix. Do, mistake, fix. Instead of do, check, act, plan, if that makes sense. And it's this short circuit that we're spending so much time here at Best Practice trying to help you guys take this extra step to do this thing called preventative action. Now, that's not the word I would use in everyday life, but it's the thread through this industry of corrective or fix-it action versus how do we actually prevent it happening again, or how do we, if we identify it, prevent it happening in the future, if that makes sense. So remember, you've got the opportunity to ask questions. My iPhone is right here if you want to send me a question and I'll answer it live for you via email on LinkedIn or via the live chat facility on our website. So if you want to ask me questions, I'm asking you questions, or if you want to make a comment, please go ahead and do that. You can click the button at the top. If you're viewing it in the email, if you're viewing video via the email, you can click that button and take you across to YouTube. You can comment beside the live stream on YouTube as well. So please do that if you've got questions. I'm going to ask you questions. If you feel compelled to answer them, or if you've got a question, please ask. So what's happening in this cycle, it's not plan, do, check, act. That's business as imagined. It's not actually what happens in your organisation every day. It doesn't happen in ours. Like, we try to have a quality system and we try to have an improvement system here at Best Practice, but we're still humans and we still make mistakes. And even though I have to campaign it every single day, we still do it. And so we do stuff, we make mistakes, and we fix them. And we keep short-circuiting this preventative step. So what this webinar was all about was how do we improve our performance. I think it's important to understand that we want to be working in this space, in this acting space, and this planning space. Very difficult to make a plan if we don't know what's going on. And that's what prompted me to come up with the topic for this webinar about getting a clear picture of your organisation's performance. How do you get a clear picture of your organisation's performance? So we start framing that up and have a think about what that looks like. Now I've got a process to do that. So there are, if I just call it for the benefit of everybody, let's just call it a company or an organisation. And I'm just going to write org. There we are. So in the context of the international standards at the moment, we talk about this risk-based thinking. And there's lots of videos on our YouTube channel about risk-based thinking. So after the webinar, you can go and watch, they're 3 and 5 minutes long. I talk about risk-based thinking. But the context of this webinar is how do we get a clear picture of our organisation's performance. So there are some steps that I'll quickly move through, and then we'll talk about how we start to present that. But we've got to think about the organisation, and we've got to think about all the things that are coming into the organisation. I'm just going to draw a horizon line here. So we've got safety. We've got customers. We've got the environment. We've got cyber threats, or cyber security, or information security. We've got financial. We've got all the other laws, if you like, government laws, that don't fit into that. We've got all of these areas of threat or risk, if you like. So we've been encouraging people to do a SWOT analysis: strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. So the question is, if we've got all of these stakeholders or all of these areas of risk or information out there in the marketplace around us, in the environment in which we operate, the corporate environment or the government environment or the society environment around us, we've got all these things that are going to start to impact us. Now, the question would be, well, what area of performance would you like a clear picture of? So Jack's going to quickly do a Google search leave me on the screen and quickly do a Google search, and we'll have a look for, can you Google search profit and loss statement? And we'll see what we can get from a Google search of a profit and loss statement. So if you want to get a clear picture of your organisation's performance, we would do a profit and loss report. So what we're starting to talk about is, if you like, risks up here, and then below this line we're talking about performance reports. Now, we're all doing lots and lots of reports every day, and we're asking for reports, and people are doing reports and taking time and getting data and all that sort of stuff. The context of this webinar is how do we get a clear picture of our organisation's performance, and I'll come to that. But what I want you guys to be thinking about is this concept of a SWOT. Have you completed a SWOT? Strengths, weaknesses, opportunities and threats. Have you captured your risks, and have you had your risk-based thinking? And more importantly, how often do you do that? So what's the frequency? Now, you can choose your frequency, but if you want my advice, I think quarterly. From a corporate organisational perspective, revisiting and revising this process every quarter, so it falls into line with your financial reporting process, is that you do this quarterly. And this would be, in the previous whiteboard example that I gave you, the planning aspect that often gets missed. That we do all of our financial quarterly, but this stuff gets left to somebody in the organisation to just do when they get round to it. There's no robust, if I look across all of our clients, there's been no robust observation that there's consistent, threat, risk, SWOT analysis on a quarterly basis in some sort of quarterly executive strategy type session. So frequency, I'm going to say quarterly. So 4 times per year. Sorry for my writing, but 4 times per year. If you think 4 times is too many, great. But I'm going to keep campaigning and advocating on all of our social media channels and everything that I do for the next, however long, until somebody knocks me off my perch, that 4 times is the benchmark. I think you should do it more often than that. I think probably 6 times a year you would get the most or the highest level of effectiveness in terms of the constant evaluation of performance. 6 times a year in an organisation, because there's a bit of work involved, but 4 times is the benchmark. If you're doing it once a year, where you're looking at, say, management review once a year, it's not enough, and I will tell you that now. It's not enough to be effective in contributing to an improvement in the performance of your organisation. Your external auditor may accept that you've done management review and you've done it once a year, but I guarantee you that once a year is not enough to actually contribute to improving your organisation and improving your organisation's performance. So 4 times a year is the benchmark. So everything I'm about to talk about and what we look at and what we report on and getting a clear picture of our organisation's performance, I'm expecting you to do it at least 4 times a year from a management systems perspective. Okay, so rant over, and I apologise for that. So we're looking at this process here where we're identifying these areas, these risks, and sometimes if you do it 4 times a year, you might say, well, one of the meetings we focused on customers, one we focused on cybersecurity, the next meeting we sort of focused on environment sustainability and a little bit of customers, and then environment sustainability and a bit of safety, probably looking at OH&S and safety almost every meeting. And so over a year, because you're doing it 4 times, you're going to get a balanced approach to it. If you only do it once a year, something will burden the rest of this and the other topics won't get enough airtime or attention in those meetings. So quarterly is my benchmark, and potentially 6 times a year would be great. What happens then with this question mark is, what do we want to know? And that is probably the best question out of that. Now, regarding these potential stakeholders or the representatives of these areas, you can substitute this we for the word they. So what do they want to know? And my observation across, here at Best Practice, we're doing, somewhere between 2,000 and 3,000 assessments per year. We're seeing that this is a big weakness. The biggest weakness for my whole career, for the last 15 years of doing assessments of organisations, I constantly see all of this attention to writing documents and writing policy and writing procedure. No one's looking at how you guys are going. And then you're wondering why stuff goes wrong and you're wondering why you make mistakes. So what gets watched gets managed, if that makes sense. So let's now start talking about this clear picture and how we get there. Okay. If you've got any questions, you've got all those places to make comments, LinkedIn, YouTube, you can do that all now. This is live, so ask those questions. No support here, this is all me. Just doing, oh, whiteboard's breaking. I don't know what that was. Something fell off the back. All right, okay. So, the clear picture of an organisation's performance. So, what promises have you made? And that's the starting point. And I want to start with the organisation's promises. What promises is the organisation making to the marketplace? The marketplace is made up of customers. We'll put them over here. There's staff, so OH&S. In the marketplace there's also, say, cyber security and data. So this week Facebook's been under the spotlight for the open back door to all of their data. Environment. And of course, we should put somewhere there, let's leave it to last, because profit always comes last, is financial. So what promises have you made from a customer's perspective? Can we see that? Is that still on the screen? Is it big enough for everybody? Yep. So we've got customers. Now there are actual promises and implied promises. Really interesting. Someone purchased a course. So we've got our online training courses that we sell. And we had a customer purchase an online training course in quality assurance this morning. And I had a look at the website of the company that person works for, and they make a special piece of equipment that's used in the construction industry. And they're from Canada, so you might be watching and you might know who I'm talking about. Really interesting organisation that makes some very specific equipment in the construction industry. So that company is really interesting, and he's purchased this course. He's watching all the videos online. It's absolutely fantastic. But when I went and had a look at their website, what I discovered was some really cool stuff about what they promise in terms of actual. They promise they've got all their products, and their products are made. They custom make some stuff, and then they've got other stuff that's in. They've got stock available in their warehouse, and they can deliver it. So there are some actual promises that they make. The product's already made, so they're making promises around the date that they're going to be able to deliver it. So the supply time, they're making promises around the cost or the price for the product. They're making promises around the quantity of those products that are available to their customer. But there's these implied promises, and there's all the implied promises around that the product will work, that it's the right size, that it meets industry standards, that it's safe to use, that it's environmentally friendly. Those are all the implied promises. And so as we start to ask the question, what promises have you made, then we can start to look at what those things are. And that's where we come to this next question around, well, how do we measure, this is about getting a clear picture of your organisation's performance, how do we measure that we've delivered the promise, if that makes sense? So we can measure, over here in actual, we can measure time, we can measure dollars, we can measure units, and it might be the number of units on back order. If there's units on back order, we haven't met our promise to be able to supply our product to our customer. Implied promises is lots of the quality standard type stuff. It might be non-conformances or defects internally of our product. It could be, we could be measuring complaints. There are all the sorts of areas or the KPIs that we can start to say, have we delivered the promise we made? The promise we made to our customer. And I'm just giving you the filter. It's only a 1 hour webinar. It's running really quickly. I'm just giving the filter that I use every day to start to frame up what KPIs and performance improvement would look like. From an OH&S perspective, we can look at some of the simple stuff. We can look at injuries. But one person might say to me, I thought the objective of OH&S management was that we wouldn't have injuries. And so what might be some of the pre-work things or the lead indicators that we could ask around injuries? Then, okay, so we can report hazards. We can report number of people exposed. And so as we're starting to think about that, what promises have we made to our staff around safety, and how do we know that we're delivering that promise? And it's really that question that's going to give you the best result in terms of starting to get a clear picture of your organisation's performance. Not, we're going to measure this and report this because we've been asked to. It's think about the promises. And this gives me the opportunity to introduce the part of your management system that captures your promise, and that's your policy. And I often see that people miss the link between what our policy says and why the policy is important, because people write them, but they don't acknowledge the fact that the policy is the leadership or the CEO giving the commitment to how we're actually going to, what we want to achieve, if that makes sense. So have a think about what promises you made from a safety perspective. Now you can start to talk about cybersecurity. And what promises are we making there? Or information security management, if you like. What data do we have? What promises have we made? What promises have we made internally? What implied promises are there that we're making as an organisation? And so start to think about those promises in terms of the context of cybersecurity. What information do we have? Do we have credit card details? Do we have banking details of people, staff's personal information, personal details on our customers, intellectual property, commercial in confidence, designs, trademarks, all that stuff that is part of your commercial intellectual property in your organisation? And what implied promises are there around protecting that, securing it, ensuring the data doesn't get damaged? Because you could accidentally damage the data. We've all accidentally deleted something that we shouldn't have. Our contractor's making some noise and everyone's worried about the noise. So it's not affecting the audio, is it, Jack? It's okay. So from a cybersecurity and information perspective, what information do we have? How do we protect it? But more importantly, what promises did we make? Environmentally, what environmental promises have we made in the marketplace? And from a finance perspective, what information? What promises have we made to our shareholders, to our stakeholders, to our leadership team, to our staff, all that sort of stuff. Okay, so from that perspective, we're starting to get a good understanding of how we can frame up that clear picture of our organisation's performance. Now's the time to start asking questions, because I've almost finished my rant, and I just want to finish with how we can all pull this together. Now, here in the best practice office, if you watch some of our other videos, you will see our dashboard. And I guess the final prompt for me covering this topic in this particular webinar was something that I've been closing training courses or finishing training courses and presentations with for almost 20 years now. How do you get a clear picture of your organisation's performance? And so if we've got, let me just get rid of this. If we've got this, we can start to look at reports, and we can start to say, let's frame up our dashboard, if you like. Now, I'm a little bit old school when it comes to this sort of stuff. Here in Best Practice, we have a big, long dashboard, and it's on the wall in our office. Now, I'll try and turn the camera. I may be able to do that and see. You can't actually see it. But just down that end of our office, outside over there, on the wall, and I'll try and move the camera. How much cable have I got? I haven't got enough cable. So I'll take a screenshot of it and we'll include it in one of our other videos here at Best Practice, is that we have this big dashboard and we have all the statistics that are part of the flow. So here at Best Practice, we've got marketing, we've got sales, we've got ops, we've got finance. All good?
Yep.
Too small?
No, it's the focus of the camera.
Right, okay, stop moving. We've got HR, OH&S, and environment. And under that, I've got a graph. And that's how my dashboard's framed up. And the graph's got performance tracking, and those are our, what we call our, these are our divisions of the business, and they're the first line of graphs on our dashboard is our gross divisional statistic. And then below that, we've got sub-graphs that are all contributing to performance of that particular part of the business. And that's basically what our format looks like, or our template, if you like, in all the parts of the business. Now, what it allows me to do, and I'll keep filling it in, that's what the pages look like. What it allows me to do as the leader of this particular business is look at the different areas of the business that are affecting each other. Like, we might go really well on environmental performance, but it might actually affect our profit. Our profit might go down, for example. Our OH&S performance, you know, our injuries might go up. And when our injuries go up, I know that our profit goes down because we stop work and we do the debriefing and all that sort of stuff. So preventative strategies on OH&S over here, OH&S over here, is, you know, if we're identifying issues and correcting issues, the more of that we do, the more we prevent incidents occurring, and incidents affect us because our operations stop. And that's something that's common across construction, manufacturing, heavy industries. And so the more preventative activity you can do in an OH&S perspective, then you can look at a sustainable forecast of your performance. And I can talk lots about different projects that I've done over the years with organisations. You know, we looked at one organisation where we did 16,000 hazard identifications in a 16-month period on a big mine site, and we knew that when the average hazard identification dropped below 2.4 hazards identified per person per shift, that we had, you know, 2 to 3 week periods where we didn't have any incidents, and so production could ramp up and we could be very profitable. So when we had good attention to safety and high levels of safety compliance, we were very profitable. And so you can start to get a clear picture of how your organisation's tracking and how OH&S affects profit, how environmental affects profit, you know, how sales affect all that stuff. Because, you know, at the end of the day, organisations are run on the you know, they're predicated on the fact that they're there to make money. I didn't say make profit, because, you know, you might be in the not-for-profit sector, but we're talking business here. So we are talking money. And it's very important to understand what's going on in the financial part of the business and how the other areas of performance affect that, particularly if there are financial targets for the organisation in terms of sales and profit and all that sort of stuff. You know, a business that's not profitable is not good for staff, because businesses then have to restructure, people lose their jobs, all that sort of stuff. So we've got to think about that. But here at Best Practice, we look at marketing and our leads. We know we've got to get, you know, 3 times more leads than sales, so it's 3 to 1. Then, you know, we've got ops, so we've got the work that we need to do over there. One sale might be 10 days, and so we know for every sale we've got 10 days worth of work, you know, that sort of stuff. We know that we'll make 20% profit, you know, or that's our target. You know, HR is about smiley, happy people. OH&S is about safe people. And environment's about, you know, improving the environment and looking after the trees. It's not all of what it's about, but it's something important to consider. So getting a clear picture of your organisation's performance comes back to that concept of, what are the promises we're making? What are the marketing promises, the sales promises, the operations promises, the financial, HR, OHS, environmental? What are we making about, the promise we're making to our customer? Our staff, the shareholders, the regulators, the community, and each of the sub-stakeholders that are part of that process. This webinar is not about stakeholders, but it's important to understand what are the promises that we're making, and then what would they ask us to measure? What are they concerned about? Like, lots of people say, well, what KPIs should I use? What should I put on my graphs? It's like, well, why don't you ask them? Like, go to a customer and just say, what's really important to you? Okay, I'll do it right now. We'll do a bit of a case study. So, Jack, here at Best Practice, what's the most important thing for you? Like, what promise do I make you that is very important? Jack's in the zone, by the way. Yeah.
In terms of best practice as a whole, or my area?
you like, what are the things that you want to get out of working here?
I want to learn how to run a business.
Yep. So Jack wants to learn how to run a business. He's in the hot seat. Yep.
How to improve the things I do.
Yep.
So our marketing outlets.
Yep. Perfect.
YouTube, social media.
So for Jack, as a leader, I might be saying over here in HR, I might be measuring hours of training. So Jack wants to learn. I heard learn in 3 different areas. So the numbers of hours of training per week. That is the promise, the implied promise I'm making to my staff. They come here to Best Practice because we're growing, we're improving. And so to get my clear picture of that and that I'm delivering that promise, we might measure numbers of hours of training delivered per week. And that's really interesting because that's tracking and you get very honest with yourself. It's very easy to not consolidate and track that stuff. But when you track it, you go, okay, how many hours should we be doing? Are we doing too many? Are we not doing enough? So there's lots of things like that are happening in organizations that are not getting tracked. And you might start to feel a little bit violated because you're being vulnerable about this. I'm not saying that you show the world this report. This is all about getting a clear picture of your performance so you can improve it. And so it's no different to a sprinter running at the Olympics, like someone like Usain Bolt. He's only going to know how well he did by measuring his performance. And high performance athletes, high performance individuals, they measure and track their performance and they keep changing it. I know here at Best Practice, I can go out and I can show you those graphs that are on the wall. They're very different to what they were 12 months ago. And in fact, I'm standing here presenting to you. Our COO is only about 5 meters away talking to our office manager, working out what changes to the performance tracking that can happen here at Best Practice to get a even clearer picture of our performance and improve our performance. And one of the things we do here at Best Practice is Best Practice assessments. We do certification for ISO standards. If you're an organisation that has certification to ISO standards and you would like to explore that with us, that's something we can definitely do. Now Greg over there, our COO, is starting to assess the numbers of hours that it takes for us to issue a report. So we'll go and do a best practice assessment for ISO 9001 or ISO 14001 or ISO 45001, and we've got our certificates. We issue the certificate, so part of this business is we're a certification body. He is analysing. We've been tracking how many audit reports we issue in a 7-day period, and he said, well, wouldn't it be more important, because the customers want their reports quickly, how many reports are overdue? And we promise to the market that we issue our audit reports within 24 hours. Now I know that doesn't happen. Like, I know that audit reports can take 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 21 days. So Greg is like, we need to improve that. That's an important promise that we make in the marketplace, that we're very quick to respond, and we're very efficient in what we're doing, but the statistic we've been reporting doesn't help us to improve our performance. So we're changing it. We are starting to track numbers of hours of training per month, to improve the effectiveness and efficiency of all of our team members. And Greg and I this morning in a meeting were talking about could we run some training on leadership and influence with everybody in our business, because we are leaders. We are an advisory organisation. We are business coaches, and we have assessors, and we do this sort of stuff online. And so Greg and I were talking this morning about could we have, we start running a program where we're training everybody in the business on improving their questioning technique and improving their ability to influence via good quality questions, and getting value out of people and inspiring people and motivating people. And so that's what you'll notice about me, is that's what I'm constantly working on. My own professional development is my ability to, I want to be more influential, because I want you guys to have a better life. I want your organizations to improve. And so the training I do, I don't stop. I don't have an off button. And the stuff I do on the weekends and the stuff I do early mornings and late nights, I'm looking at how I can be more influential, more inspiring to help you guys improve your life. Help you guys, cut the corners and find the quick tips and tricks to get you motivated and get you, I won't say it doesn't take work, like I'm asking you guys to work hard, but while you're working hard, I don't want you to be working inefficiently. I want you to be improving and growing, and that's the sort of stuff that we're doing. It's why we have the training academy. It's why we have best practice. It's why we call best practice. That's what it's all about here. So that's what this is all about. It's about constantly looking at this and framing this up. Now for me, I like to see these pieces of paper up on the wall in our office. But lots of people here, like Woodsy, you might have seen him in the vlog, he wants to do this electronically. He wants a projector, he wants to project the graphs up on the wall. Whatever it is that you need to show a number so that you can go, how can I improve that number? So when you get out of bed in the morning, you go, how can I improve our profit? How can I improve OH&S? How can I have less injuries, incidents? How can we be more environmentally friendly? Whatever you're passionate about in your organisation, your performance, it's really important to have the scales. Like if you want to lose weight, get on the scales every morning and go, what can I do today to actually pull myself down, to my target weight? Or if you want to go running and you want to run a particular track on a particular time, or you got a financial target for your life, or any of that sort of stuff, set yourself a number, and that comes back to goals. I'll do another webinar where we talk about objectives and targets and goals, but this one was all about let's just start looking at our performance. Later on down the track, we can put objectives. We can say there's our objective. It's a dot on a graph. Here's our line here. We want to get this performance up over this line. We want to have, we got 20% is our target profit, but we're only doing 5%. So we want to get over that level. We can talk about goals and objectives and targets later on. Most important thing, start looking at how you're tracking and start now, like right now. Don't wait. And that's probably the resounding theme in my life is I just get in and I do it right now. And so, yes, okay, I don't always get it right, but at least I start, and perfect practice makes perfect. So I'll quote one of my coaches, my kayaking coach, Dean Gardner. He said to me about 10 years ago, he said, Kobe, the only way to do this is do it without thinking. So do this without thinking, and perfect practice makes perfect. Okay, that's the end of my rant. How many questions have we got? Got a few. Hello everybody, how is everybody doing? Okay, what do we got? So I've got a screen here, so I'll just answer that. KPI for sales and engineering. G'day Jeffrey Barrett, KPI for sales and engineering. My sales guys, we look at a couple of things. So what's the objective of sales from a KPI perspective is, my view is to build trust and confidence in your counterparty, so your customer, if you like. So build trust and confidence. So the KPIs here at Best Practice relate to, lead indicators of how we build trust and how we build confidence. Confidence comes from having all of the right information and feeling good, because customers make a decision based on confidence. They don't make a decision based on numbers. Numbers make them feel confident. So how will you make a customer feel more confident? What things would you do to make a customer feel confident? And that will start to give you the numbers. Here at Best Practice, the number of hours physically spent face-to-face with a customer. When it's low, we have a low strike rate in sales. And when the time is high, we have a high strike rate. I know that if we spend more time with a customer in face-to-face meeting and the length of the face-to-face meeting, we build great friendships, we build great relationships, the customers feel confident. They feel confident to ask us questions and things that concern them, and to be open and insightful around, we can have an open relationship where we can really help them, like they feel comfortable being vulnerable. So KPIs for sales, recognizing here at Best Practice that we have this split between marketing and sales. So there's lead generation activities and then sales activity. Our sales team here, we track time spent with customers. Numbers of emails, numbers of meetings, numbers of phone calls, numbers of follow-up activity. And we also know that it takes about 7 to 9 touch points for us to close, a certification deal. So for us, how many touch points? So so for your sales team, Jeffrey, what's the average number of touch points per customer? And then set a target. So our target's 7 touch points per customer. We automate some of that with automated emails. We send out magazines, our beautiful magazine Certified. I think there's one here on the shelf. So that's one of our touch points. That's a sales activity for us. Issue 3 will be out next week. Look for that online on the website if you're not here in Australia. If you're on our database, or if you'd like to receive a glossy copy of issue 3, it's free magazine. Send me an email message on LinkedIn and I'll add you and we'll post it to you anywhere in the world. That's what Certified's all about. That's a touch point. We measure the number of touch points per customer. So those are lead indicators to give you a clear picture of performance. Obviously with sales, it's all about getting invoices out to customers. So we have recently in the last month improved how we track sales by tracking every week the actual dollar value of invoices or for us it's an invoice that goes to a customer and then the customer pays the invoice. So we have always tracked cash collected from customers and cash revenue as a crystal point. But now what we're doing is we know that we need to send out invoices. And so for us, we monitor and report every week the number of invoices, and that's a sales number. And then we look at the lead indicators that give us an indicator of how we will get to that sales number. Your other one was engineering. For the engineering part of your business, there's going to be implied promises. So there's tolerances and design and all that sort of stuff. I want you to stop worrying too much about that. I want you to ask the question around your engineering part of your organization. Project management and engineering is all about time, cost, and quality. So ask your customer what's their expectation with regards to time, what's their expectation with regards to cost, and then start to look at what can you track in your organization in terms of time to ensure that you meet the customers or the agreed time, because the customer's always going to want it faster than you can deliver it. But how do you have that conversation in your sales process in terms of time for your customer? And then cost and cost management and margin management and profit. So your cost of goods sold, if you like. So cost of goods sold is a really interesting area to be looking at in engineering. And then quality. So what's the level of quality and what are all the aspects of quality that are important for the customer? Not for you internally, not for the nerds in the lab. What's important from a quality perspective from the customer? How long do they want it to last for? What's its purpose? What's its task? What does that thing need to do from an engineering perspective? It could be engineering designs on paper or mechanical. I'm only thinking engineering because my brother has an engineering workshop. So that's sort of what's in my mind at the moment. But have a think about what's important for your customer and what would you track and measure. If you were a customer and the customer came and sat in the middle of your organization, what would they be worried about? And if you don't know, get one, grab a customer and say, we'd like to improve how we serve you. Would you mind coming in to our organization and maybe doing an audit or having a meeting with us and telling us what you're really worried about? Thanks for your question, Jeffrey. If you would like to send me a message on LinkedIn, I'm going to stay around after this webinar and answer some more questions. Happy to have a message backwards and forwards if you've got more questions. Happy to help you. That's what I'm here for. Who else have we got? Vinod Kumar, structuring and elaboration. So more on SWOT analysis. You want some more on SWOT analysis? Okay, is that what it says? Structuring and elaboration. Okay, so you want me to elaborate on a SWOT analysis? Sure. My first tip is do a Google search. Can you do that for us, Jack, now? Can you just bring up a quick Google window and we'll do a quick SWOT analysis Google search. So Jack's just going to do a quick Google search for you, and let's see how we go. So can you do a Google search, how to do a SWOT analysis? There you go, it's there. Look at that. Someone searched this before. So don't reinvent the wheel. Google is an amazing tool. There's a whole bunch of images of what SWOT analysis could look like. So go do that Google search. But if you can just click the All tab, let's have a look at All. And so look at that. So there's a website there. It just says determine the objective, decide on a key project or strategy. So if you read, don't just jump on the first one like Jack did. Have a skim through your Google search results, look at the first 4 or 5 and see what the common thread is through those 4 or 5 pages to get a bit of a sense of a general way of doing SWOT analysis. I'll leave this up there because we're going to take a screenshot of it. But if you were to get some, go into a bit of a workshop and you say, well, what are the strengths? You've got to pick a subject area so you can do across the whole organization your SWOT analysis, or you could do subject areas. So if it's your quality system that you're concerned about, your ISO 9001, 2015 quality system, that's talking about risk-based thinking. We're telling people to upgrade to the 2015 version of the standard, which you should be doing in the next couple of months. Like you're at the end of the process. Most people are done already. Do a SWOT analysis on your organization. What are your company's or your organization's strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats? And just with the agenda of the session, start with strengths, work through that. What are your weaknesses? What are your opportunities? What are your threats? It's just a brainstorming exercise. I in my rant earlier about doing it quarterly or 6 times a year. If you do that, then you're going to get better at it every time. The quality is going to improve and you're going to get some real meaningful results out of it. That's why I recommend doing it more often. Shorter time, more often. Not big things once a year. Short, sweet, practice, get better and better and better. But there's a great Google search. If you want to have some more of a discussion about that on SWOT analysis, send me a message on LinkedIn and I can message you backwards and forwards and I can help you a little bit more when we've got more time. Okay, what else? Anyone else? Just post a comment. If you can't see where I'm reading the comments from, there's a comment section on the side of the YouTube stream. If you're watching from the email, you can click the title above the video here, click the title. That'll take you through to YouTube and you can post comments there or send me a message on LinkedIn. Let me have a quick look. Okay, so send me a message on LinkedIn. I'm going to open that up just quickly. Okay, so I've got my LinkedIn messaging app open now. So if you'd like to send me a LinkedIn message, then I'll pick that up straight away. Or send me a connection request. Let me just quickly check those. Okay, hello, Alex Kennedy. Let me just quickly read that. I just missed it, I think. Alex, okay. Okay, Alex, I will send you a copy of Certified. No problems. Thanks for watching. Okay, what else have we got? You just keep watching that for me, Jack. If there's any questions. So LinkedIn's open. Okay, Alex will get you a copy of Certified. What else we got? So profit is kind of vague improvement in the terms of the goal. Looks like finance is dependent on the rest of the things, independent factors. Yeah, that's correct, mate. That's definitely, look, let me rub this off. So as a CEO, this is...
Oh, it doesn't matter.
Go. I can redraw it. Okay, Jack's getting a picture for everybody. Okay, as the CEO here at Best Practice, my business coach taught me something really important, which I knew, but I get help. I've got a great COO, Chief Operating Officer. I've got a great business coach. I've got a great board of directors here at Best Practice that support me. And there's some really simple stuff. Now, profit. We talk about here, the language you use at Best Practice is guiding principles. So this is your revenue. And it can be your annual revenue, your monthly revenue, your daily revenue. It could be your price objective for your for what you're doing. Here at Best Practice, we talk about a target of 20% profit. So when we annualize that for the 2018, 2019, and 2017, 2018 financial years, our target profit is 20%. And I'll tell you right now, we're currently tracking at less than 10. So our actual performance at the moment is more like 9%. And so we're off track with our profit. Our target's 20%. So we're working pretty hard to have a financially healthy company. Now that's a challenge for me here at Best Practice because we are growing very quickly. Like, you guys are all loving everything that we're doing in the marketplace. We're hiring more staff, we're doing more marketing. Like, I do this for free. Like, I should charge for this. And lots of people saying, you should charge for this. This is great content. So here at Best Practice, we have this concept of profit at 20%. That's our target. Our COGS is 30% target. And COGS is cost of goods sold. Now, I don't take 30%, write that down as a target for your organization. That's for us. The question is, what is your COGS as a percentage? So our GP margin here at Best Practice is this line here and this line here. GP margin, if you like, is 70%. So gross profit margin that we're trying to make. And so at 70%, it takes out COGS. So we've got COGS, cost of goods sold, GP margin, profit at 20%. But the 50% line down here is our overhead costs. That's our overheads, like our fixed and variable costs. So in here we've got marketing, sales. Over here is our operational costs because we're a service-based company. Marketing, sales, finance, OHS, environmental. So I've got 50% of every dollar that I earn is spent running the company. 30 cents in every dollar is delivering the service. That's the target. And profit is 20. Now I can tell you that at the moment we're at 9% profit. And so that means that this 30% and this 50%, which is overheads, they're over budget, if that makes sense. And I've got a lot of work to do to correct the financial health of this organization. But it's hard to do when you're growing very, very quickly. So at the moment, our COGS actual is more like 42 to 43%. So I've got to get that down. That's my graph. My target is 30%. But at the moment, we're tracking along. We're slowly getting it down, but we've got a bit more work to do. And then our overhead costs are a little bit high. Now that raised the question for our board last month. They said, do you think these targets are right? Are they realistic? And the answer to that question was no. So we're thinking about the target's 30, but we're thinking about revising the target to be 40 here and 40 here. So 40% COGS, 40% overheads to allow us to have our 20% profit. So 40, 40, and 20. So I appreciate that my comment earlier about profit was a little bit vague, but yes, that's exactly right. All of your other statistics, all the other things that you're building to give a clear picture of your organization's performance, they're all about helping your organization to survive and be financially healthy. Okay, what else we got? Hello, Lucy. I run KPIs on lost time injury frequency rate for OHS performance, NCRs for QA, and waste management reports for environment performance. Would you recommend any other? Yes, absolutely. Lucy. So, lost time, let me quickly talk about Lucy. You've got lost time injury frequency rate, you have got NCRs for QA, and you've got waste management for environmental performance. If I was from a staff member's perspective, your lost time injury frequency rate is for everybody else is the time that people are off work on injuries, or the amount of time lost. How do you prevent injuries? You do hazard identification, inspections, preventative activities. So Lucy, more valuable things to collect would be the number of inspections or the number of hazard reports, encouraging your small company to be identifying things that could go wrong, identifying, like, have a think about what are the things that you guys do in your organization that could cause an injury or cause a lost time injury, and look at tracking those numbers. I can honestly say that if you have a safety focused team that are looking at hazards and fixing things, tracking the number of safety things fixed per week would be a better statistic than the lost time injury frequency rate, because we've got this safety focused fix things culture. Does that make sense? And so that would be more important. And call it, like, have some fun with it, Lucy. Call it number of safety things fixed per week, and everyone have a laugh, and it'll be like a positive bit of a fun culture to it. And that's what we do here at Best Practice. Like, you know, let's call things crazy names. And I heard someone calling, they were talking about their NCRs, and I was in a meeting on Friday. They were talking about their NCRs, so quality. They were calling them breakfast issues because someone mispronounced best practice review or best practice assessment because they didn't want to call them internal audits, and they said breakfast. So they said breakfast reviews. So they call their QA issues breakfast reviews. But from a QA perspective, non-conformances are when things have happened. It's a lag indicator. So your customer, with your QA statistic in your small company, what are the important things for your customer? And in a small company, this is more important. So asking your customer, what is it that they really desire from you? What's on your wish list? So then what could you internally manage or measure? What could you internally measure around that? So Lucy, maybe you could quickly post a comment for me and tell me what sort of company you're in, and I can give you some statistics that are going to help you. So I'll see that I'm about 4 or 5 seconds ahead of you in my presentation. So I'll wait for that comment to come up while I talk about environmental ones. So Lucy, if you wouldn't mind posting the industry that you're in, so then that I'll watch for that comment to come up on my dashboard there. So Lucy, with tracking waste management, construction, perfect. Okay, so for construction, the program, so not non-conformances or defects. Of course, defects are very important. So defects of the project or the work that you're doing are very important. What could you do to prevent that? So with defects, that you identify the defect before the customer does is very important. But in construction, is your program on time? So the project that you're doing, what are you tracking to ensure that you deliver the project on time? What inspections or checks do you do in the process before you get a non-conformance? Like, I appreciate your non-conformances you're reporting might be through the process, but what sorts of things do you do together with your contractors and together with your staff to be checking that things are being done correctly before a mistake is made, if that makes sense? So supervision, communication, those sorts of things. So pre-start meetings or the word we were using was like a handover meeting with your contractor, or like a startup meeting with your contractor, and good quality communication might mean that you're going to prevent those mistakes happening instead of your NCRs in your construction project. So I'm not sure how big your organization is, but I have seen success with like higher quality communication. Like a site manager talks to the contractors 3 times a day. When the site manager only talks to the contractors once a week, they have more non-conformances. So equally, rather than me solving your problem, asking your site managers, asking the people that manage the area of the business where that non-conformance happened, you as a leader, you're the management system representative in your organization. You as a leader engaging with your team and engaging with the people that are in those areas of business and saying, what sorts of things could we do to prevent this non-conformance? And how often should we measure that? What would we measure to keep track of ourselves? Are we doing those things so we don't get those non-conformances? So I have found that being a better leader is about asking great questions, and that would be, you know, the standards talk about engagement of people, and asking those people those questions to get those lead indicators. You're going to be far more influential rather than trying to solve the problems. And you're probably saying, yeah, that could work, that won't work, that could work. So I do appreciate the fact that asking some questions. Lucy, just to quickly talk about your environmental performance. with construction. It could be percentage of waste to landfill. So I think you're talking about, you've got waste management reports. What about in percentage of environmentally sustainable products specified into the project? So one thing that is really interesting about this office and these office fit outs that we work in is that if somebody new moves into this space, they'll just collapse this office fit out and all these walls and windows and everything, put them in a skip bin, take it to landfill and build something new. And so I always ask the question, what could be specified for the customer to make the asset that you're constructing more environmentally sustainable in the future? So how could you help your customer save money on maintaining their asset that you're building in the future use of the thing that you're building? So whether you're construction, I'm thinking pipelines, utility, buildings, offices, houses, dams, wharves, all the things. I've been on construction sites in the past, and it's a really good question to say, how could we help our customer be more environmentally sustainable in the future with their asset that they're building? It's a challenging question. It's a big hill to climb, but it is really important, and that will set yourselves apart from your competitors, which is really interesting. So Lucy, I hope that helped. Okay, so upgrading of benchmarks of KPI is one of the essential ways of profit enhancements. Absolutely, that's exactly right. As you get more confident in improving your statistics and improving your tracking, yes, of course, improving your goals. It's not about constantly moving the goalposts in your organisation, but getting more refined on what your targets should be. And that's what happened here with us. 12 months ago, we said, 20, 30, 50, and just recently we've changed that because it's unrealistic. We talk about objectives being SMART, S-M-A-R-T. So specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, and time-based. And we found that 30% COGS wasn't realistic for us. 40% is realistic that we can achieve that. Any other questions? Anything on LinkedIn? Yes. Okay, so that's it for questions for the moment. I'll hang about on LinkedIn. So if you guys want to send me messages on LinkedIn, to connect with me on LinkedIn, if you can't send me a message or you can't connect with me, my email address to send the invitation is kobe@simat.com.au. So just Google the spelling or Google who I am and it will show you Kobe, K-O-B-I, @simat, SIMMAT.com.au. Okay, I hope this was a beneficial webinar for you. I'm not finished because I just want to quickly talk about, Jack's going to bring up, we've got a special offer for you guys. So if you want more of this detail, I'm going to keep doing these webinars. On Fridays, we're doing our live stream. We won't do a live stream this week. There'll be a live stream next Friday in a week and a bit's time on YouTube. So hit subscribe to our YouTube channel so you get the updates. If you don't know how to subscribe to YouTube, you need a Gmail account. So get yourself a free Gmail email address, and you can use all the features of YouTube and all the great stuff that comes from the Google products. I don't get paid by Google to say that, but Google's fantastic and it gives you access to Gmail. So for those of you who have participated in this session today, we've got a special offer. There's an ISO 9001 Essentials course that you can do, and a certificate of completion. There's downloadable content, and we go clause by clause through the standard. And so one thing that I haven't told anybody, I'll finish this off. Use the code ClearPicture. That'll give you the discount. So it's $2.99 down to $60 today for that particular course. So I'd love your support. Jump on and hit buy and grab your $60 training course, and then that's there. So you'll set yourself up with a username and password, the same login you used to subscribe for the webinar, and you can go and purchase that training course. And that supports our training academy, gives us the opportunity to do more of this great stuff. That's what it's all about. If you would like some assistance with certification, that's obviously one of the big things that we do here at Best Practice. If you would like ISO 9001 certification, ISO 14001 environmental, so if you just want to jump on our website, Jack, any of those there, then we can definitely help with a proposal. We've got a great sales team that are going to help you with certification. Cyber security and protecting your information, that's an exploding standard in terms of what we need to do. Someone's running in to talk to me. Hello?
It's save $60.
Save $60, I'm being told. Save $60, not for $60. I'm being told save $60.
Yeah.
Okay, so to save $60 on that training course, if you want to go back to that slide, thanks Jack, it says now save over $60. On that, you'll get a $60 discount. So that'll go from $299 down to $239 for that particular course. And I am going to, for the people that are set up in the training academy, I'm going to give away one course. I'm not going to tell you who it is. It's just going to show up. So logging on and checking out the courses, I'm going to allocate that course to one lucky person in the next 5 minutes, somebody who registered. So look out for that, log back in, have a look through the shop and see what courses there are. And it's not going to be that course. There's an even better course that I'm going to allocate to you. So I'm going to go through the registrants. There's 50 people registered for the webinar before it was live. So I'm going to go through, just as a bit of a surprise for everybody, I'm going to go through the list of people that registered, and I'm going to give you a training course that you can do, which is one of our best courses. So I'll go through and do that. So log back in. And if you see that course pop up in your library, you'll be the lucky winner of that particular training course, and you can enjoy watching all those videos. So that's the training course. Jack's brought up a picture there of the website, which is the Best Practice Training Academy. This is a veiled sales pitch. This is what we do. We do this stuff for free, but we also sell these great courses, and we sell certification. The free magazine's coming out, so I will. The people that have messaged me on LinkedIn, I'll get you added to the list so that you get a copy of our free magazine. It's a management magazine. It's got management articles in it. It's just part of one of the great things we do to help you guys grow and improve what you're doing. Tell your friends to subscribe to our YouTube channel. We need more subscribers so we can get our message out there. And more importantly, if you thought about somebody while I was presenting this comment that you would really love to hear my message, you would really love me to tell them how to improve, and you think that my message might inspire them, share this video with them. There'll be a link on YouTube in about 30 minutes on our YouTube channel with this webinar. So jump on, grab that link, and then copy and paste that link and send it over to them, or tag them in the comments, or do whatever you need to do. Because I do know that while you're watching it, the odds are that some of you thought about someone who really should be listening to this. You really want them to know this information, so please share it with them. That's why I do this, so that I can help those people that you would also like to help. I'm running out of voice. I've got one more question. A bit about monitoring and measurement. Vinod, can you send me a LinkedIn message? And I will cover that a little bit more about monitoring and measurement for you in terms of frequency. Of course, those graphs I drew, they could be daily, weekly, monthly, yearly, hourly, by minute, all that sort of stuff. I didn't talk about time and frequency, but I did talk about performance over time. That's our logo. It's a graph, performance over time graph, and that's what we're all about here at Best Practice, is looking at your performance over time and how you can improve it. Okay, so if you'd like to send me a LinkedIn message, Claire, what can I do? Thanks, Claire. Thank you, Claire. Thanks for the comment. I really appreciate it. You're welcome. So now, I have a request of you guys. How many people have we got left watching? Okay, I need some help from you guys, and this is me being vulnerable. I would like to know what more I can do to help you guys. So I'm planning my year. I'm looking at what we've got ahead. There's all the YouTube videos. There's, I don't know, Jack, about 350 videos now on our YouTube channel. Maybe you could bring that up and show people. There's 350 videos on our YouTube channel, and Jack's just going to bring that up for you guys. I'm really passionate about helping you guys. I hope this is helping. But I'm really keen to know what's helping, like specifically, obviously I can motivate you and inspire you. I want to know what you guys have had, you've had a try at. Like if you haven't been successful, that's okay. But if you've had a go and you found it hard to stay motivated, or you found it hard to sort of keep going, can you let me know, what you found inspiring, what you found motivating? Maybe send me a LinkedIn message. But if you're stuck on something, like if you're stuck with like, yeah, that was cool and it was really great information, but I'm struggling to do something, like get moving or recognize my performance, can you let me know? Because I'm trying to think about what more I can do, like change subtly what we can do to improve. There's a bunch of training courses in our online training store, and I would like some advice from you guys about what you would like to see there. So what are the sorts of, what is the help that you feel that I could put into a training course that I could potentially, obviously sell to you or sell to the industry, but it might actually be where I can help you with your teams. So is there some training that I could build, like a training course that I could build that's going to help you with the rest of your company or the rest of your organization? So we did a bit of an experiment and we built an induction training course where I sit and I talk about ISO systems and ISO standards and improvement and that sort of stuff. So I'm looking for suggestions from you guys. We're thinking about building a low price point course that might be like $20 or $30 per person, where the people in your company, I can actually help you through our online training academy with your people. So I don't know, it could be stuff like, what's an improvement system? It could be like a little mini internal audit course, or internal reviews, or how to do a mini SWOT analysis, something like that that's going to maybe help your managers, your supervisors, the people in your company that you can sit and watch. So we had an idea that there's an induction product. There's a little induction course in there for new starters in your company where I talk about ISO systems and I talk about best practice that's designed to help you, because I can save the cost of big video production for you by building a generic course that might be $20. So if you were to have video-based training built for your company, it might be thousands of dollars. We can build a course that we can sell to lots of customers that gives you the insights and information. So I'm looking for some feedback for you. How do you think I could help with your message? And I'm looking to have, if I got everybody to chip in, like crowdfund it, if it was $20 per person, that's not a big cost, and I can collect revenue from a whole bunch of people that are going to give me the funds to actually build those courses. So I'd really appreciate that. Now, my email address here at Best Practice is kobe@bestpracticecertification.com.au. So for those of you that have listened this long, I would really, really, really like your assistance for you to tell me what I could do more of that's going to help more people in your company. So there's this stuff, which is management representative system type stuff. What can I do to help more people in your organization? That is a video that might be part of an induction or part of systems training or systems awareness that we can put in that online academy. And individual people, when they start in your company, can sign up, get the free stuff that's available, but then have a particular training course that helps them, or courses or little modules for the things that you need help with. So if you could send me an email or a message, that would be fantastic. A message on LinkedIn. If you're not connected with me on LinkedIn, you use the email kobe@simat.com.au, but also at Best Practice. I'd love your suggestions. I would love your assistance. So thanks everybody for listening. Thanks for watching. There's on that side. What side is it on? Yeah, that side over there. Those are our certificates. So the ISO certification side of the business. So I love connecting with people on LinkedIn. I love messaging backwards and forwards on the email system on LinkedIn. It's a great way to get me because I've got my phone in my hand all the time. So thanks for watching. We've gone a bit over time. I hope this was your best webinar ever, and you had a lot of fun and you got some great information. And I will see you guys soon somewhere on YouTube, here at Best Practice TV, Facebook, LinkedIn, wherever it might be. Thanks for watching, and I look forward to getting your feedback on that request I've got. So thanks everybody. I will see you all soon.